Okay, it's April 7th, 2022, and I'm going to take the detour through the Portland's Flood Protection Project. And guess what? Signs! Trish, Lakeshore at Logan. So that's a sign that's like way farther east than ever there was a sign before. It's very clear. It's obvious that now I have some, time to ruminate over what I'm going to do. The sign said at Logan, so I can, choose to head up north at Logan, or read this next sign that says trail closed, follow detour at Carla and Lakeshore, which is pretty clear. It's big, it's hard to miss, and definitely better than the other signs that we've seen to date. So access via Carla, Lakeshore Trail, blah blah. So I want to go downtown and go in Carla. I'm at the green. I'm gonna make the left. And this can be a bit sketchy. On the other day, almost went over a 3/4, maybe half-inch bolt that was just sitting in the middle of the road. So it's from a surface cleanliness perspective, pretty gritty. A lot of pebbles, small stones, a bunch of sand. There's wind that blows up. I guess the street sweepers, when they go by, it ends up chucking a bunch of debris up onto this. Not sure why, but it is the case. In general, this is really well done, this part of the trail. I've never come into any kind of conflict with drivers, even those making lefts or rights fast or slow into, I guess it's the Toronto Hydro building parking lot. This can be a bit of a negotiation, but not too bad. You probably take it a bit slower if you were a little less confident. But it's that there will be cyclists making that right at that intersection, I feel like is not totally obvious to the drivers heading west, who are intending to make a right. People rip down these, and these are pretty wide. I feel like maybe there's been some bad manners, bad habits that have been formed over years of just gunning through on the right. That bad habits are hard to break. Let's see out of it. And yeah, sometimes people can get a bit impatient with other types of vehicles. There's a lot of delivery vehicles, there's a lot of construction vehicles. So I think some people get a bit impatient. Right now though, this is a Friday afternoon, so workday pretty much over. So there might be some kind of commuting traffic, but I don't expect there to be construction vehicles. This is no longer a stop sign, which is interesting, so I can just go through. And so far, I haven't had any issues with running into vehicles coming this way. So far. this section generally kept up pretty well. It gets a bit pooly when the rain falls. Just from like a weather perspective, there's a bit of light rain today, so you can kind of see remnants of that, and some dirt from a heavier rainfall that occurred previously. This, I feel like, is not great. It really encourages people to make that right pretty fast. And, you know, it feels a bit strange having to cross that intersection without a stop. But, like, it makes sense. This right here on the ground is pretty much always terrible from, like, a cleanliness perspective. You can see I'm just, like, riding on dirt and gravel, basically, at this point. This stretch from Salter to Don Roadway is just a mud fest. But in terms of the orchestration of all of the construction vehicles and the you know, the sensitivity to cyclists, everyone's also very collegial, or, you know, if that's not the word, at least kind. So, you know, you do get people pulled over into this section, but boy oh boy, those bridges look nice. Yep. Yeah, like I said, you know, there's work to be done, and like we all have to kind of make way. But is it safe for a 10-year-old? That's kind of the question. Some pooling there. Yeah, that seems to be there perpetually. It was there through the winter. I didn't ride this much in the winter, but I did ride it. Wasn't too far different from this. I think some of the signage in the east end was added, I want to say February, but I'm not sure. Those good digital signs. In terms of like the positioning of these barriers and the general state of cleanliness, I feel like this has been the case throughout the winter, and it would be interesting for comparison to that December video I put together. It's fast. There aren't a lot of places where you're stopped, so if you compare this trail as a means to get downtown versus going through, you know, city streets, let's call it, it's a lot dirtier, but you know, you're getting there. This light changes very quickly, and from my perspective, I have to go up onto the sidewalk and hit this button up here in order for it to change, which it's doing now. That's a bit awkward because now I'm up here, and then people that are going to make the right, you know, what's their level of caution, or what's their thought process when they're focused on those lights changing, they're making the right, you know, can they right turn on red? It's always a bit of calculus that's being performed by people, and does the cyclist sitting on the sidewalk get missed in that equation? And what I'm going to do is just kind of go up to where the I guess it's the sediment control or what have you. erosion. I guess sediment control's on top of it. You know, where they're doing all the utility connections across the bridge. All this dewatering, and then I'll flip around and go back, show the signage, going back the other way. A lot of interesting stuff down here. So you go this way. This is all pretty good, pretty clear, pretty safe. You get some interesting vantage points of all of this construction activity, which is always stimulating.